Bear Grylls is that real-life hero whom we all have seen doing such feats in our childhood that leave us in awe of what we could never even dream of doing. This guy actually did it. He used to give thanks to his strong mindset. But do you know that Bear Grylls was not always like this? This guy who looks like a fearless and strong man is sometimes weak, scared, anxious, and Bear Grylls, who has been in depression, writes in his autobiography, Mud, Sweat and Tears, that fear forces you to look tough on the outside, but on the inside, makes you weak and weak. Bear Grylls' biggest fear was of heights, which is called acrophobia. But see, the miracle is that after a few years, at the beginning of every episode of his show, Bear Grylls used to descend from a helicopter from a height. Has been a part of UK Special Forces SS, where he has a lot of knowledge of parachuting. He had the experience of jumping from a plane many times. 21-year-old Bear Grylls had jumped from a height of 16,000 feet during a mission in Zambia in 1996, but this time his parachute did not open as soon as he jumped into the sky. Seeing the time, he had opened the parachute, but still he was falling rapidly. When he looked upwards, he realized that the parachute had not opened completely. He started pulling the parachute cords in a hurry, hoping that somehow the parachute would not open completely. While doing all this, he collided with the trees and fell on the ground, and in a flash darkness spread, he fell on his back on the ground, and as soon as he felt terrible pain, and the worst thing was that even after falling from such a height, he was conscious. He could not even move. He was just lying there and crying loudly. They were in the hope that their companions would come to save them. The pain was so dangerous that they could not bear it. They said that death was better than bearing this pain, but even death was not coming. They felt the same pain for a long time. I kept pleading as his companions immediately took him to a hospital in Africa. He remembers that the doctor stabbed him in the back. The injection was given and gradually his pain started reducing. He started thinking that he was getting better. He started trying to get up. Then the doctor came and told him that he could no longer burn. Hearing this, young 21-year-old Bear Grylls felt as if the world had. It was over when he said that falling from a parachute and breaking so many bones did not cause as much pain as staying in the hospital for a year. He had to endure a lot while lying in the hospital bed and thought that perhaps he would never be able to walk again. The reason for living his life, meaning and purpose, was to travel as an adventure, traveling and exploring new places. This injury had taken away from him his reason for living. Thinking about this, he could not sleep at night. Due to anxiety, he would become drenched in sweat. His breathing would become labored. Every night he would just feel sorry for himself. I felt sorry for myself and even hated myself. 2 months had passed, but instead of any improvement in his health, his condition was getting worse. The pain was increasing and his body was becoming tired. Looking at his condition, he became more negative. He was not feeling good about anything. Later, he started getting angry and crying. Gradually, he slipped deeper into depression. People who knew him thought that Bear Grylls is a very positive person. He is mentally very tough. He will face this problem with a lot of courage and positivity. But it was not so. He was 21 years old and was very scared. He was not able to understand how his life would go on, what he would do. All his dreams were coming to an end, and he was lying on his bed at midnight. Keeping his eyes away, there was a photo lying on the frame. That photo was of Mount Everest. Since childhood, Bear Grylls and his father had dreamed that one day they would climb Mount Everest. After climbing Everest, seeing the dust on the photo frame, he started feeling as if his dreams were also covered with dust, which he could not tolerate. No one was with him that night. He was alone. He stands up with courage, and the crutches are like this. He goes to that photo frame and cleans the dust and falls asleep just thinking about how he can give himself the courage to live. This thing got deeply stuck in his subconscious mind. This thing gave him courage and a hope to live. The next day when he woke up, he remembered something that his grandmother always used to say. Bear son, whatever happens in life is good. It is only human who finds excuses to make themselves sad and upset. Whenever you get into trouble, always remind yourself that whatever happens, this is happening as per the will of God, who never allows anything wrong to happen. At this time, he understood the depth of this matter and made him feel the truth that if he had wanted this, he could have died due to this injury in the accident. But because he is alive, it means that God has planned something better for him. After this, he stopped worrying about what would happen in his life. What will happen? Will he be able to walk or not? Will he be able to work in the Special Forces again? Now all these worries and concerns stopped troubling him. When his overthinking reduced, his mind got peace. Then his stress and negativity also started reducing from his body. First he started repairing his mind. If his mind became strong, then his body also became stronger. He started healing. His wounds started healing. The speed of bones joining increased. He remembered something from his closest friend Ed Ames, who once told Bear Grylls that birth, death and then rebirth are often at the hands of God. And from this injury you have been reborn. Now I am like a new child. I am not worried about anything, neither about my past nor about my future. I am just grateful. So for my present, Bear Grylls says that life often gives us a second chance. It doesn't give, but if it happens, then be very grateful. He was grateful for his life. For his broken back, for his dreams, he went and took that picture of Mount Everest in his hand and said loudly that as soon as I get well, I will come back to Mount Everest after touching its peak. He was overcome with this depression by something. What helped him the most was his aim and goal. He had no reason to live till now, but in that condition when he could not walk, he promised himself that he would climb Mount Everest only when he could help the people around him. When he told that he wanted to recover and climb Mount Everest, people used to ignore his words, but now his goal was very clear. He had to recover as soon as possible. Both his body and mind had got a goal on which they could work together. After the 3rd month of the accident, the pain started reducing. After 8 months, he was released from the hospital. He was discharged and completely recovered within a year, but the doctors had told him that he could not go back to training in the special forces. There was no job, there was no money, but to fulfill his dreams, he got 25 lakhs. There was a need where he trained to climb Mount Everest and bought equipment for it, for which he wrote proposals to about 250 companies for sponsorship. And he got rejected from all the companies. Even after facing rejection 250 times, he did not stop, knocked on the doors of many people, but got disappointed again and again. Then SS Alpha Forces Help organization helped him in realizing his dream. 18 months after the parachuting accident, in 1998, he made his childhood dream come true. His journey to climb Mount Everest is a different story in itself. This journey is not that easy. 4 people with him lost their lives and he faced near-death experience twice where he almost escaped death, but somehow he became the youngest person in Britain to reach the summit of Mount Everest at the age of 23. After this, his story started becoming very famous and people invited him as a speaker in seminars. Many documentaries were made on him, and finally from Discovery he got the opportunity which gave him a worldwide fame, after which everyone started knowing him from Man vs Wild, and maybe you are also one of them. So if you like this video, then watch the video, grow this channel by clicking like and subscribe button. Support us and turn on bell notification so that you don't miss upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.